Welcome back to the Health Code podcast, where we have expert guest conversations on all matters health and lifestyle. I'm back with Angel Laura, and my name is Kyakunzire. Angel Laura was with us in the previous episode. If you did not watch it, you can go back and watch it. We were talking about handling stigmatization around children living with HIV. And we shall be going deeper into the conversation, but I'm going to let Laura reintroduce herself for that first-time viewer. Angel, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Kyakunzire Laura Angel, and I work with an organization called Human Rights, which is a non-government organization that promotes social justice for people living with HIV, as well as I'm an advocacy officer there. And yeah, I'm a human rights and social justice advocate for people living with HIV. Yeah.
It's nice having you here. So as we continue with the questions, I would like to know some of the misconceptions that we have around HIV, even with all this education that we've had.
Yeah, as you just said, we still have misconceptions around HIV. And one of them is people still think that they can test with their eyes. They'll see a slim person or someone who is not looking healthy enough, and they'll judge by the eyes that, oh, probably this person has HIV. Yet they're actually lying themselves. So in HIV, you cannot test using your eyes. And another misconception is still around despondency. People still can't believe that you can actually be in a relationship where you're a despondent couple and live a normal life. The other will stay negative and the other will keep positively living, as long as it only happens as long as the other person living with HIV is adhering well and suppressed or undetected.
What is the difference between those two, suppressed and undetectable?
Suppressed means you still have copies that are visible in the blood plasma. When they test, they will find HIV, which is below a certain copies medically. But when you're undetectable, it means they will test the blood and the blood will be free. They will not find any virus in the blood, but it will be in the reservoirs of the body, the bones, behind the ears, different parts of the body, but within the reservoirs or the bone marrows, within those areas.
So meaning there is a possibility of me going for a checkup with my boyfriend and we find we are both negative when instead he's just undetectable.
It's very possible. Very possible when someone is undetectable. Only if they do a DNA, what we call HIV DNA, where they go beyond the normal tests. That's when they discover that actually this person has been on medication and is still HIV positive. Yeah.
Actually, this brings another question. If, for example, I slept with someone who is HIV positive unknowingly, and how long does it take for me to find out that I'm actually HIV positive?
HIV is a very tricky virus. It depends on the body or the different blood groups. Some people will detect in 3 weeks. Others will even detect in 1 week. Others will detect after years, what we call window period. It entered, but in the moment you might even test and you may find you're not positive, yet it's still struggling to penetrate your reservoirs and your blood. So that is why when we go back to the component of PEP and PrEP, the post-exposure prophylaxis and the pre-exposure prophylaxis, that is how it helps in preventing HIV. That in scenarios, for example, you've been exposed to HIV, you slept with someone, you're not sure of their status, or you've even not just sleeping, you feel maybe you are in the hospital, you touched a sharp item and accidentally cut, and you're suspecting you could have been infected. You go for PEP. That PEP is after you've been exposed. And then in that process, when you take the PEP, it kills the virus from penetrating the reservoirs or from penetrating the blood. Okay? That is the use of that HIP and PrEP. It kills the virus from penetrating. But when you delay, after 72 hours, it can spread all over the blood. So at the end of the day, it depends on the person's DNA. The group, the blood group, the entire body's strength, the CD4, all that determines on how long it takes for the person to get infected, to fully confirm the HIV positive status. Yeah.
Because I had also, I think I read it somewhere, among the myths around HIV, that some blood groups do not contract HIV. Is that true?
Some do not contract HIV. As I already said, it's not possible. If you're in the risk, definitely
it will take time, but
it will take time, but it will happen.
It will show.
And some other people may not inform the rest that they're actually taking PrEP or PEP. Others might be, some might be hidingly taking PrEP or PEP. Some might be in window period and they're not sure. It's either of the two. Or you're having protected sex where we are using condoms. And condoms that are properly, what is it called? Properly, is it kept? Is it maintained?
Not expired?
Not expired? Yes. Because the expired one, it could also expose you.
When we were discussing earlier, you were talking about, you had mentioned that some, it might show within a week or 3 weeks or even months or years. Now, before it shows, is that person spreading the virus even before it shows? Or it only starts being spread when it has already shown?
We don't have clear science there. Me, according to my observation in that line, is it of course spreads when it has finally showed. That is my understanding. But if they have tested and it's still in window period, it means it has not yet penetrated your blood. The high possibility that you may not infect. But where it has been detected, Papa, you're actually positive. Lines crossed. There, you will definitely infect. In most cases, those people are high at risk of infecting because they have not yet started treatment and all that. They have not used PEP or PrEP or whatever. So they are high at risk of infecting. There are other, the other people that may get exposed sexually with them. Yeah.
Now, maybe another question that I could ask you, maybe if you, depending on your experience and the knowledge that you have, do you think there are people who are really misusing, and what is the right word? Yeah, misusing PrEP. Someone takes it all through so that they may have as much open sex as they want. Are there dangers to that? Or it's okay?
First of all, in the invention of PrEP, it came in at a time of protecting people who do sex work. So they are not misusing. As long as they are aware of what the work they do that involves being exposed to sex. It means they're actually doing the best to protect.
So there are no dangers to you using it?
No, there's no danger. As long as you're sure you're using it for the right reasons. Why would you start to take medication when you're not sick or you're not preventing yourself on an act you are very aware of? For sex workers, definitely they know their job is risky.
At risk, yeah, they're risky.
Yeah. Even you have a partner whom you don't trust, you're also at risk. So I don't think there is anyone who has love of taking medication without a cause or a reason. Yeah.
Sure. So when you talked about discordant partners, have you ever dated anyone who is HIV negative?
Yeah, I have ever, but in many times, even when you date, actually one of the things we experience as people living with HIV, even when some people come into our lives to accept us, you never understand if it's really in goodwill, or if someone knows because there are condoms. They'll, you know, sleep with you and have protected sex with you, but not have a future with you, not actually marry you.
They're there for the experience.
They're there for the experience. So it depends on if really that person has good intentions with you. But yeah, I've been there. And when you find that person comes in with the right reasons, it is very good, healthy, and okay. You live a normal life and date like any other person. But where someone has other intentions for you, to just have sex, hit and run, and that's it, it is painful. It is very painful for people living with HIV to be in relationships with people who are negative, and they are left without proper reasons. And maybe in front there someone tells you, you know what, I realize I can't happen with you because I fear. You see my family, you see, they start giving you all those reasons.
You met me knowing all
so
this.
That is why we're experiencing new infections in HIV, because people fear to be ignored, people fear to be neglected. That is why you'll see some people getting into relationships, they know they are HIV infected, but they will not talk about their statuses with their partners. Down the road many years, you don't know the partner is actually swallowing medicine, is actually HIV positive. And that is why even back then, most of those infections in our parents' times came in because when these people discovered, they always feared to be left alone. They had to get another person without the knowledge of the status. And that's how HIV continued to spread. Yeah.
But now talking of people that get infected, that knowing this, especially married, how can someone protect themselves from being infected in such committed relationships?
Honestly, it's very challenging when you're in marriage. But I would highly advise, if you know, because I cannot say stick on condoms. It's very hard. Your other partner might not be.
Especially
willing.
In marriage, because you're there for, you need those reproduction years.
I would typically advise you either go for PEP, most likely PrEP, pre. If you really feel
that he might,
this
partner
partner
might be cheating,
is very unsettled, and you want to keep in that marriage or in that relationship, that is the only savior that we have, PrEP or PEP. There are different types of PrEP and PEP nowadays. We have there are many interventions coming up. Today we also have the deepen ring, which was rolled out. It's a ring that women put on. It's pushed inside to the cervical opening. It's pushed in. So when it goes there, it keeps releasing a drug that prevents the woman from getting infected.
How long does that stay inside?
About 3 months.
So
after
you keep
3 months,
replacing it.
Yeah, you keep repressing it. But it's still not yet highly circulated in the country, and those are some of the things we're still advocating for, to avail these commodities for people. We have the injectable PrEP, which is also still being rolled out, and still at a cost, a very high cost for many Ugandans, which may run up to, I think, 6 months. Yeah, we have event-driven PrEP, where people take PrEP when they know that their partner they're going to meet, they don't trust that partner, and after they're not going to keep, in that relationship with them. You get it? So that is event-driven PrEP. So we have so many interventions, but as a country, there are some commodities that are not yet very available for all of us. But for those that are available are the pills.
Those are readily available.
Yeah.
Are they free or they're at a charge?
They are free in some health centers. And some health centers where you may not know, they might charge you. So in our country, you expect both.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, you've been speaking of the PrEP, the different invasions, and then I'm curious to know more about the cure for the cure for HIV. I've heard of it. I've read a tiny little bit about it, but I still don't understand it. Could you maybe educate us some more about it?
I might not break down the drugs because I'm not a scientist.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
And I might mess
Just
up.
give us a bit to understand it.
But several studies are ongoing. Very many studies are ongoing about the cure for HIV. And we are expectant. We are very expectant. That one I will not go far. But everyone who is coming out to do this study, some studies are already being done in South Africa over the cure. And some people have actually succeeded in curing through those studies, the gene therapy and other therapies that are being handled. People are getting the cure, but only a few that have testified, and they are still under the study.
So it's still under study.
It's still study going on.
Successes,
so we cannot confirm for now. Yeah, but just know our scientists are not seated. We keep pushing and pushing for this cause because we really want to see a cure of HIV in the country and all over the world. It's one of those epidemics that have long been affecting us and the public threat still today.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Going a little bit away from that, I would like to ask, when you were coming out as an HIV activist, because we've seen you on global platforms, on so many platforms, doing a very good work in human rights, in HIV advocacy, educating us, educating the public on HIV and everything that surrounds it. When did you decide to come out and speak more openly about HIV, about your status?
I decided, it was a journey. I think I can just give a brief on how I actually gained the confidence. In Form 5, where I was studying, I woke up at one point. I felt I needed to join a club because back then in school I was a loner. I didn't have very many friends. I was not very social kind of person because I was held up in my situation. And come senior 5, I said, no, I need to break this silence in me. I need to be around people, but for humanitarian based kind of work. I needed to get into a club that would rejuvenate that, confidence and support people. I was passionate about helping people, especially those who are going through the same situation as me. Yeah, my journey started in Form 5 when I joined Red Cross. And in Red Cross, I was able to work. The kind of work in Red Cross exposes you to humanitarian-based work. You start to learn to speak, to be friendly, and all these other things, social. So in that line, I was nominated as a leader, President Red Cross. And here I start my journey.
In a club?
Yes.
Red Cross club?
Yes, I was nominated. And the way I was nominated, indeed God wanted me to be a leader. First of all, I was not willing, though I wanted to be in the club, I was not thinking of myself ever being a leader. And I remember the president then saw my potential and said, I feel you should be the next president. I told her, no, I don't think, I can't manage. I was like, no, you can manage. I have forgotten her name, but she believed in me. And then that period, they voted and I was at home sick. Then I came back at school, they had voted someone else. I knew I was not going to be a leader. But little did I know, in 1 week, this girl was suspended. And when she was suspended, of course, the seat wasn't going to stay vacant. Immediately, as the next person nominated, straight in that position. And I'm like, how will I start to handle this? I had a lot of fear. I was not confident, but I was mentored through that process. We had mentors, good enough, from the headquarters. So I started building my confidence little by little. But my vision was somewhere beyond that circle.
You could feel it within you.
Yeah. I had that burning passion for supporting people living with HIV to overcome the situations I had gone through. Stigma, discrimination. I knew I needed to fight that. So it took time. It didn't happen immediately. Come senior 6 VAC, there's a guy who was trying to date me, a friend to my stepbrother. So this guy reaches out to me. I didn't open up. I didn't say yes or no. I was just there, but scared. So we kept friends. I would go to their home. The good thing, he was living home. I would go to their home. So this one fateful day, which actually turned out to be my first step of accepting that I need to start being open about these issues. I come from hospital with my drugs in my bag. I visited him, and abruptly I go to use the toilet, the washroom. I do not know what convinced him to check my bag. He knew I had a heart problem. That was the only topic we used to have. So he kept wondering, what kind of condition is she really suffering from? So I think that inquisitive mind pushed him to open my bag, take pictures of the medication, and kept quiet. Here I come, stay in for some few minutes, go back home. Not knowing that the guy had actually taken pictures of my tabs, asked doctors, and doctors told him, this medicine is for this. So that night he sends me messages, oh, I didn't know you're like this, why are you trying to kill me, what? And I'm like, excuse me, for how long have you been trying to pursue me? But I never gave it a chance. Do you know why? You should be thankful that I actually never had unprotected sex with you. So don't start telling me these kind of things. So from that time I was like, okay, if I'm going to meet more guys
like that,
like this, what is going to happen? I think I should start the journey of being an advocate and openly talk about my status to help other people out there who are ignorant, who want to blame game, who want to call us murderers and all these kind of things. I'm like, wow. So within that period, I got a mentor who was owning a CBO by then in Katwe. This guy, we met in a function, a community-based organization in Katwe. We met in a function and he had kind of mentored my brother. So that function, my brother was also there. So my brother happened to introduce me to this person. Because he had already started seeing that, I don't know how he sensed it, but I think at some point, I had shared something about it with him. So while we were going home after the function, I had an interaction with that guy. I don't even know how I opened up everything about my vision. Because the way that guy would talk to young people would entice you to speak about your life. Up to today, by the way, he's a very powerful man in mentoring young people. And I applaud him for that wherever he is. Sadat Zaga, keep it up. Many young people are being inspired. So that guy held my hand throughout the journey at that CBO. I kept volunteering. He opened me in spaces. I kept moving out. Like, I started like that until I had more confidence than the usual. And yeah, here I am today, openly speaking about it. It's not easy.
Sure.
I remember one of the videos that I did that went out and reached my family member that had ignorantly stigmatized me or discriminated me. It caused a backlash, a very big backlash. And it brought a very misunderstanding in the family. I know I spent some good years without talking to them. So when you start this journey, you think you're telling a story to support people, to end certain vices, to inform people of your life and what you don't want others to experience. Others misunderstand it. Others think we are looking for money, what. They say so many things out there. But can't I ever be an advocate without having a money-minded mind? Can't I do something for people
So clearly, you coming out changed the dynamic in your family.
Yes,
Is it still the same right now?
The tensions are still there, but not much. Because some are getting used to me now. They just got used.
How did it affect your other part of the social life? Maybe the friendships, your relationships, the intimate
Lucky
relationships?
enough, I have not faced stigma from friends. And every time I open up, instead these friends confide in me. Like they wonder where I get that strength. It has brought people I never thought would be friends with me. So my story with friends, it has actually, opening up publicly has actually helped me be a mentor to some, be a shoulder to lean on for many, even those who are negative. Like they wonder, where do you get the energy to speak about these things openly? So I am glad that I'm a shoulder for people to lean on, both negative and those who are positive. Then social media. You will not fail to have people clashing with you on social media, making funny comments. I'm a social media influencer. I use my platforms to speak about situations relating to myself. So when you come out to talk about, I'm HIV positive, and then but I'm spreading this kind of message to you about this, and then someone comes out and is like, no wonder you're a Munyankole. You Munyankole are very corrupt. That's why you have to be, most of you are infected. So you can imagine, where
did that come from?
Where is me being a Munyankole and the corruption of this country connect with me being infected? So all that cyberbullying or cyber, what we call online gender-based violence, we go through it. But when you start this journey, you learn to take in things and push them out. It's a process you have to learn. For any young advocate coming in here, we experience clashes, frustrations, but you train. It's part of like a component in mental health. You train your mind not to hold anger and to easily overlook certain things. You're like, these people are ignorant.
Yeah, you move past those comments.
You move past those comments. But you train yourself. It's a process also to challenge certain things from hurting you, bringing you down, and all that. So whoever takes that path, you have to be ready. And also that readiness that you put in your mind, you're like, I'm putting out this message. Others will perceive it positively, others will perceive it negatively. It helps you to relax and do what you're supposed to do.
And I think I'm one of those people who are really grateful that you came out. So I want to be among those many that are going to appreciate you for being a very great voice to the public health sector, because you're doing a great job teaching us, teaching everyone. We are all learning, because as you grow, you think you understand these things. Even when you join the public health sector, you think you do understand, but you don't. And every other day brings us to learn. And you've done that. You've helped us through your social media, I'll actually leave her details down below to go and follow her on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, so that you learn. And you don't have to be negative, HIV negative, for you to learn from her. If anything, that one who is HIV positive, you might learn more about handling, being a better friend, being a better partner, being a better colleague, and also changing your language, because we can all be activists. It doesn't have to be only that person who is HIV positive to be an activist for people living with HIV. It's through learning and educating ourselves. And I thank you so much, because you've done that. And as we come to the end, I'll ask you one second last question. What are you most grateful for today, as of today?
Yeah. First of all, I'm grateful for life. Life. Maybe I would have died long time ago. I don't know even when. Secondly, I'm grateful for the courage I've built over time and the people that have mentored me through the journey. I have a bunch of mentors, people that have seen potential in me and have put me in front to take lead on certain things. I don't take it for granted. And I wish that every other person would hold a hand of someone who has potential. Not just in HIV, in anything.
True.
We need people who are positive, who have positive mindsets towards us. It gives us that strength, that courage, that confidence to face tomorrow, to do the things we thought we could never do. And that is what I'm grateful for. And that is why I stand here as another mentor for someone out there, a counselor for someone out there. I'm in very many shoes. And I'm glad that some have benefited from me in that line. And yeah, I'm still available for those who need those kind of services, to be mentored, to be a counselor to you. I am open to all that. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. And maybe to close, for you to close, you can tell us one thing you want to be remembered for. Okay. It can even be more than one. Something you want to be remembered for as Angel Laura Kyakunzire.
I want to be remembered for overcoming fears like the HIV status. To be that brand that have supported many, especially young people, to overcome the fears that are associated with the HIV dynamics. HIV has a lot of dynamics. We're only talking about a few. But there are other dynamics like the vulnerability that I've not presented here today. Many of us, when we grow up with HIV, because of that treatment, we have the parenting, that exceptional treatment. It haunts us, then we start to be vulnerable. Even in adulthood, we are still seeking for special attention. So, one of the things I've taken time to, research about, and I've taken a lot of notice on HIV vulnerability. It's causing more harm than good. And I want to be remembered for that person who overcame that vulnerability and looked beyond HIV status and supported other people to come out of that shell. And this also goes back to the parents who have children living with HIV. Please do not overtreat them exceptional. Teach them all they need to know, just like the other kids. This business of, this is my baby, she's like this or he's like this, that one can't do this. Tomorrow when you're not in this world, what will happen? That vulnerability causes irresponsibility. Someone is just there in their corner and all eyes have to be on them. We are out of that. We are capable of doing things that other people do. So when we are also bringing up those children, we need to show them the direction they need to go, like any other child who is negative. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have learned as much as I've learned from Angel. As I said earlier, I'll leave her contacts and her details down below for you to be able to contact her, to follow her, so that you may get more knowledge. Because HIV is such a wide topic. It's a very wide topic. We cannot finish it in just one day, in just 2 days. And maybe in the future we shall have more conversations around it. Even in the comments, you can comment, ask questions about things you would love to know about HIV, and we'll be able to bring her back to answer some of those questions. But I want to thank those parents, the partners, the friends, the colleagues, you who is watching, for being a supportive friend, for being that supportive person and an activist on this journey. Because as I said earlier, you don't have to be with a similar status for you to be a human being. Being an activist is being human. And you listening to people, seeing friends on social media bully others that are trying to make change, and silently keeping quiet without checking them out, without checking out your friends, is silently being the same as them. So how do we become good activists? We also check our friends with love, because they're speaking out of ignorance. But if your friend is making even a small comment while you're having a small conversation, makes a funny, what they think is funny but offensive comment about HIV or a status, it could be a girl passing by or a boy passing by, and they make a funny comment, it's not that time to laugh about it or to just ignore that. Check them right there and then, so that they may be educated, and again with love, because we are all learning together. Now, if you've learned like me, I would say like, comment, share, subscribe, so that, because we have much more. It's not just this topic we'll be talking about. The Health Code podcast will be talking about so many other topics around health, around public health. With that, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.